The Bronze Era was full of amazing athletes with impressive natural physiques, but knowledge regarding their routines is missing. I haven't really talked much about Bronze Era bodybuilding routines on this channel, and in fact there is not much information on Bronze Era bodybuilding routines at all on YouTube, and I hope to correct that. Here is the great Bronze Era lifter Bobby Pandour, and I found this awesome photo of his back development in an old French physical culture magazine, and I mean, just look at it, it's just incredible. The musculature is just coming three-dimensional from this image. It's incredible. It is this kind of muscular development in the back that could be developed by natural Bronze Era athletes. Today we're going to look at Ed Theriault and his Bronze Era routine for building his mighty back muscles. I came across this article from Your Physique, August-September issue of 1942. So we are talking very early 40s. 81 years ago, in fact, during the earlier half of the Silver Era, at least that's when this article was written, and in particular during that time, a relatively unknown Canadian bodybuilder by the name of Ed Theriault graced the pages of Your Physique magazine. He actually was both a Bronze Era and Silver Era athlete, and not much has been said about this amazing bodybuilder, but let me just show you some of his earlier photos from the Bronze Era in comparison to his later photos from the Silver Era, and these photos span 2 decades apart, and you will hopefully appreciate the kind of effort and time that it takes to develop a naturally strong and athletic physique like Ed Theriault's. As Reg Park stated when he first saw Ed Theriault, quote, "There is positively no doubt that Ed Theriault possesses more muscle per square inch than any other man living," end quote. And I mean, Reg Park was right. Ed was built with thick slabs of muscle on his rather small frame, making him look massive yet symmetrical. The kind of back musculature built back then are best illustrated by the awesome photo of Mario Sir, Bronze Era bodybuilder from Montreal of Young's Studio, a popular gym back in the day, who was a Canadian weightlifter in the lightweight class capable of a 2-hands press of 195 pounds, snatch of 190 pounds, and a clean and jerk of 240 pounds. Another, of course, is famous Bronze Era strongman Clevio Massimo, who I have already featured on this channel and had the most amazing back development. The back development of the Bronze and Silver Era lifters was greatly influenced by odd lifts and Olympic lifts like the clean and press, clean and jerk, and the snatch, both 1- and 2-handed versions. Now let's look at Ed Theriault's routine for back development. For the development of the trapezius, the shoulder shrug was his number 1 exercise for the development of the traps. As Ed stated, if a person were to perform just this one movement with sufficient weight and a good number of repetitions, he would be assured of a pair of well-built trapezius muscles. Ed's tip here is to perform the exercise with a barbell to ensure maximum load is used, and to visualize touching the ears with your shoulders whilst keeping the arms straight. He would start off light, performing 12 to 18 reps with a given weight, and work up to a maximum poundage whilst lowering the weight, essentially using the pyramid system. He also recommended rolling the shoulders instead of just moving them up and down, but I don't necessarily advocate this type of shrugging. Another exercise recommended by Ed Theriault is barbell upright rowing. Unlike the version performed in the Golden Era by bodybuilders such as Arnold Schwarzenegger, the movement during the Bronze and Silver Era resembled more of a high pull as performed by Olympic weightlifters, and this version, I agree, is much safer than the old school bodybuilding version, as it saves you from potential wrist pain and allows you to use much heavier poundage. This exercise was performed by Ed for 10 to 15 reps for sets. The barbell rowing motion was also a favorite of Ed's and of Bronze Era athletes such as Dave Mayo, who attributed the barbell rowing motion to his Herculean back development. He is known to have used 300 pounds in this exercise. Naturally, we're talking natural athletes here. Again, this exercise should be started off with lightweight, pyramiding up to heavier weights for lower repetitions. The next exercise in Ed's routine is the breathing barbell pullover, which was also used by Jack LaLanne to develop his back muscles and serratus muscles. Interestingly, Jack got so strong in this one particular exercise that he was one of the first bodybuilders in the world to be able to pull over his own body weight, which at the time was 165 pounds. Performed with a light weight, the breathing barbell pullover expands the ribcage and works the serratus and intercostal muscles, while performing it with a heavier weight works the latissimus muscles. As a back developer, a weight that allows 10 reps per set is recommended. Keep the elbows bent throughout the movement to affect the back even more. A 2-arm barbell clean is next, as performed by John Davis. Develops the back muscles too. As a teenager, he could already use, that is John Davis, 200 pounds and perform repetition cleans to develop his mighty back. And at his peak, we're talking Olympic champion, he could do 400 pounds. As a bodybuilder, power cleans are recommended with only a slight bend in the knees. The Jefferson curl has received a lot of attention in recent years and was actually called the stiff-legged deadlift. The old school stiff-legged deadlift, as performed in the Bronze Era, was done with a curved spine, and although said to be a great erector spinae developer, even the strongest strongman would only use a maximum of 135 pounds on this movement because of the load placed on the vertebrae during the movement. If the spine is flexed during an exercise and is under load, this will eventually lead to spinal degradation, so be careful with this one. Only a very light load is needed. What's more, Ed recommends that advanced athletes use a block to increase the range of motion further, which puts the spine further into flexion. Again, if doing so, use a light weight. If you wish to use a heavier load, performing the standard deadlift is recommended for the development of the erector spinae. The last exercise in this routine is the good morning, which, similar to the hyperextension, works the lower back musculature by keeping the muscles in a fixed and stable position, unlike the Bronze Era stiff-legged deadlift, in which the spine flexes during the movement. Again, a weight that can be performed for 10 repetitions is a good starting point. So that was Ed Theriault's back routine from the Bronze Era, and as we have seen, this routine was truly inspired by Bronze Era lifting methods of the 1920s and 30s, so I do hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and let me know in your comments. Would you like for me to share more Bronze Era workouts like this one? If so, please let me know. I was thinking about doing a full series on Ed Theriault's Bronze Era routines, but please let me know in the comments section. Anyway, that's it from me. This is the Golden Era Bookworm saying bye for now. Head to www.goldenerabookworm.com for the biggest range of classic old school bodybuilding books as ebooks, e-magazines such as Iron Man and Reg Park Journal, high quality bodybuilding posters of the Golden Era stars, merchandise and classic gymwear featuring Steve Reeves, Marvin Eder, John Grimmick, Reg Park, and many other Golden Era stars. For those wishing to build a classic physique, lose fat and build muscle, online training is also available. Collectibles such as rare autographed photos from the Golden Era stars are also available, and to collaborate, please get in touch. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Vince Gironda's approach to bodybuilding, his principles, and all these tips of wisdom that he has, I mean, there's so much stuff that probably hasn't been proven by science, and it will take science to prove or disprove Vince. But to be honest, these 3 books, I believe, which I call the Classic Physique Bundle, are the best books that Vince ever came out with. And they, of course, are the Wild Physique, the Master Series, and the Pro Series. Have a look at it this way. The Wild Physique, I believe, is like the ABCs of Vince Gironda's principles to bodybuilding. He teaches you the exercises and his principles. But how do you put them together? Well, the Master Series is a 14-month program of using all of these principles, all of the diets that Vince came out with, all of the exercises. And of course, the Pro Series was a book that he came out with later on, specially targeted for
getting into competition. It's just these 3 books, as I call it, the classic physique bundle, are Vince's best work, and available, of course, at www.goldenerabookworm.com.